The one and only Dipset legend, Jim Jones, has lost it, and it's all on video. The worst part is that this isn't just a small argument, it's a full-fledged assault on Camron. You've heard rappers quarrel before, but this is on a whole new level. Jim Jones, in a desperate passion, engages Camron in a savage public altercation that will leave you stunned. The internet is now on fire, and the video has gone viral faster than a wildfire. But that's not the most surprising part. Jim Jones gets arrested barely hours after the chaos. Yes, you read correctly. The police rushed in as if it were a movie. But the real issue is, what actually transpired behind closed doors? Was this just another quarrel, or is there something far deeper going on? Stay tuned, because what I'm about to tell will leave you doubting everything about Jim Jones. Believe me, you won't believe the twisted truth. The Harlem rapper has known for stirring up controversy throughout the years, whether it's through his songs, stunts, or public conflicts. But the most recent event involving Jim Jones and Camron is like a plot surprise you didn't anticipate in this never-ending drama between the two that everyone believed they had buried. The argument long ago, but on the surface, it appeared to be nothing more than another dispute that might have been resolved in private. However, nothing in the world of rap is private, as we are all aware by now. In the blink of an eye, what was meant to be a peaceful discussion between two former allies descended into a violent confrontation, leaving one man in Jim Jones. A man known for his tough guy persona is now at the heart of a scandal that no one anticipated. The video of this fight, which shows cuffs and the other person embattled, has gone viral and is the only topic people can discuss at the moment. We don't yet know the exact sequence of events that led to this confrontation, but we do know that Jim Jones and Camron have been in the public eye together for years, first as members of the Diplomats, the legendary Harlem rap duo that brought us numerous hits and created a dynasty in the game. But like many high-profile collaborations, things began to go sour. Business disputes turned personal, and soon they weren't simply disagreements. Jim Jones and Camron were collaborators, but they were also adversaries. Their public rivalry has been going on for years, and this most recent episode is just another chapter in their always-changing conflict. But this time, the fight went too far. Jim and Camron were allegedly attempting to resolve their issues, end their feuds, and possibly even return to their relationship roots during what was intended to be a private meeting. But according to many, sources claim that after a brief exchange of words, Jim Jones suddenly lunged at Camron, tackling him to the ground and throwing a barrage of vicious punches, turning the argument into a physical battle. Was brief but violent. According to reports, Camron was taken by surprise and attempted to protect himself, but Jim was too strong and got the upper hand. The camera footage, which has since been made public, shows Jim lunging at people. This isn't just another celebrity altercation, it's a representation of everything that has gone wrong in their relationship over the years, pulling Camron to the ground and continuing until the damage was done. We cannot deny that this altercation was captured on camera. The film is widely available on news websites, social media, and is being shared, reposted, and discussed after years of tension, unresolved concerns, and animosity. Continually, the world watches as Jim Jones, a guy known for his toughness and violence, even vents his anger on a former business partner and friend. The question is, what will happen next? Let's discuss what happened. Jim Jones wasn't simply let go after the altercation. Instead, this incident attracted the attention of authorities, and they arrived at the area less than 2 hours after the altercation and arrested Jim. Officers arrived after receiving an anonymous report about the incident and discovered Jim and Camron in a chaotic state. Jim, the aggressor, was immediately taken into custody. Charges: basic violence and assault. But things are never so straightforward, particularly when involving a well-known person like Jim Jones. Let's take a closer look at what Jim Jones has been involved in. Despite his history of legal troubles, this time the public is paying close attention. The media has exaggerated the situation, of course, but the reality that Jim Jones attacked Camron is still there, and the tape is available. And it won't be going away anytime soon. As more people view it, more questions come out about what caused this. From anonymous sources close to the issue, it seems like there was more going on here than just a quarrel. Jim lost control of his temper in a fit of wrath. But why was this about more than a personal grudge between two artists who were once friends? It wasn't simply about hurt feelings or a misunderstanding. Jim Jones' close associates have speculated that this altercation might have been sparked by more than simply words. Did Camron say anything that sent Jim off, or was there a more sinister plot at work? Crossed the line and pushed Jim too far with his remarks, or was there another underlying problem that we are unaware of? There have been reports that suggest conversations took place before the incident. Several anonymous sources claim that Jim has been dealing with a lot of issues. So was this argument truly caused by discussions about business deals, old grudges, and things that were left unsaved? Or was there something else at play? Jim Jones let it all out in a way that no one saw coming, and he's now paying the price for it. Whether this is true or not, this battle was the consequence of years of pent-up rage, frustration, and hurt. There are other investigators looking into this matter besides the police. Rumor has it that both Jim and Camron's teams are dealing with the aftermath of this fight behind the scenes. According to some accounts, Camron has been discussing filing charges with his lawyers, while Jim's legal team is frantically assembling a defense. However, the worst part is that there are allegations that this entire altercation was planned, or at the very least, purposeful. Some claim that it was all a PR trick, another way for these two to maintain their popularity. Is that accurate, or is this just another chapter in the ongoing story of the Dipset drama? Time will tell, but let's not overlook the true repercussions in this case. Jim Jones is more than simply a rapper. He is a brand, a cultural symbol, and somebody whose every action is closely watched by the media. This fight and this arrest are tarnishing his character in ways that go beyond legal charges. Fans and critics are divided. Some are supporting Jim, saying Camron pushed him too far, while others are denouncing him, saying this is the last straw in a long line of string of poor choices. What will happen to Jim Jones and Camron next? And what does this indicate for their future in the business? This is only the beginning, people, and I assure you that you will want to stay for the next section of this story is important because things are going to get much more bizarre. The repercussions from Jim Jones' violent argument with Camron is still ongoing, and the public will have to deal with the long-term effects of this clash. Reactions are coming in from all directions. The fight is no longer just about the physical altercation. It's about everything that will happen after it. Legal teams are gathering. The media is having a field day, and fans are split. But let's look deeper. In-depth analysis of the events following the arrest and how Jim Jones and Camron's situation is getting out of hand. Fans and critics alike started to doubt the core tenets of Jim's identity after years of him being the self-described tough guy, with his entire image centered around strength, dominance, and being. Jim's reputation as an untouchable guy was broken in front of the world. Could it be that his years of dominating the rap scene had only been a facade? Or was he simply a man who couldn't manage his temper? Talk about the specifics of what's going on behind the scenes. According to people with knowledge of the matter, Jim Jones' arrest is just the beginning of what both his and Camron's teams are frantically trying to handle. Jim's staff is reportedly working quickly to repair the damage, according to several insiders who have come forward. They have reportedly contacted a number of significant media outlets to request favorable coverage in order to offset the negative coverage. Jim's commercial transactions are being seriously impacted by the media's focus on his violent outburst, raising questions about whether companies will still want to work with him in the future and about possible sponsorships. Camron is allegedly incensed. Despite the fact that he hasn't said anything in public, insiders indicate that he feels personally assaulted by Jim's decision to link himself with him, which is disastrous for his brand. The two were once like family, but now Camron is apparently carefully weighing his choices and is looking into the idea of filing a lawsuit. This wasn't simply a physical altercation, it was a betrayal. Let's examine the legal ramifications of this altercation. Camron has a solid case given the footage that is already public knowledge regarding Jim's assault, but it is unclear if this will result in a lawsuit. What does Jim Jones' arrest mean for him going forward? First off, especially for someone as well known as Jim, allegations of assault and violence are serious. Sure, he may have a costly legal team, but since the media is so active and the public's outrage is building daily, it is still possible that he may face severe repercussions, including jail time. Some legal experts are already. Jim may have to endure a protracted legal struggle, according to the video footage of the incident, which has already been presented as proof. It is evident that the altercation was quite violent, with Jim hurling punch after punch in his wrath. According to experts, Jim might face more serious charges for knocking Camron to the ground and continuing until the damage was done. If things don't work out, he might also be subject to probation or possibly jail time. Jim is concerned about much than just that, though, since there are far-reaching repercussions. There are whispers that Jim's label his management team, and even his closest supporters are reevaluating their relationships with Jim doesn't want to lose his business empire due to a pointless argument that could have been avoided. So there are discussions about contract renegotiations, possible splits with his business partners, and even a public apology tour. Avoided. But as the legal drama unfolds, the public's view of Jim Jones is being portrayed in a far more negative light, and the days of the cool-headed, swaggering rapper are long gone. That everyone looked up to, Jim is now perceived as a loose cannon, a man who loses his temper easily and snaps when things don't go his way. Is this the image he intended to shed, or is this just another phase of his decline? From grace, but hold on, there are more people close to Camron who say he won't just stand by and let Jim get away with it. Camron, a cunning artist with a sharp tongue, has apparently been making some calls of his own. It has been rumored that Camron has consulted with other industry leaders for guidance on his next steps and is contemplating making a public statement that would reveal much more. Let's take a moment to think about what Camron stands to gain from this. Camron is already an experienced veteran in the rap game, and this information about Jim's activities that hasn't yet been revealed confrontation might further boost his reputation. If he chooses to file charges, it could place him in the public eye and portray him as the victim in this story. The media and fans' sympathy could work in his favor, making Jim is left to face with the consequences of his actions, while Camron, the story's antagonist, wins a publicity victory by being perceived as the more composed and level-headed one. However, there is still another twist to this drama that we need to consider. To think about, what if this whole situation is more than simply a personal dispute? What if Jim's actions weren't just motivated by his rage or irritation with Camron? There are speculations that Jim may have been under the effect of alcohol before to the argument, which could have affected his judgment and resulted in the outburst that has now destroyed his reputation. Reputation is just an idea, but it would explain why Jim would act in such a careless and damaging way while everyone else is waiting to see what Camron will do next. Although he is reportedly considering taking legal action, he is also thinking about using this opportunity to publicly address the situation. A tweet, Instagram post, or even a YouTube video might completely change the course of events to his advantage. What's next for these two men? Where do they go from here? Jim faces a future full of concerns over whether he will be able to reconcile his relationship with Camron, restore his reputation, and reclaim his position in the rap industry, as well as whether he will use this chance to file charges or let the matter go and move on with. As the days go by, the aftermath of Jim Jones' arrest continues to unfold, and his career is about to hit a boiling point in a public feud that has been simmering for years. Trust me when I say that this is far from over. Keeps getting worse. Everyone's wondering what will happen next. Will Jim be able to save his reputation and job, or is this the end for him? What about Camron? How does he handle the fallout? Despite the strong proof of the attack, Jim's legal team has reportedly not been sitting quietly by. This is just the beginning of a story whose implications are now becoming apparent. They are making every effort to obtain a lower sentence or possibly have the charges dropped completely. One tactic being discussed is claiming that the altercation wasn't planned. They are allegedly saying that Jim was provoked and that his response was due to a long-standing conflict between him and Camron. But is this argument credible given that the video shows Jim punching and not backing down? Time will tell, but it's certain that Jim is doing everything he can to avoid going to jail. Meanwhile, supporters of Jim's cause are changing their mind because of the vicious meme culture surrounding Jim's arrest, where people make fun of him for losing his temper. Strong guy stereotypes are starting to raise doubts about whether he's really the role model he once seemed to be. There is a sense of dissatisfaction in the air as his formerly devoted fans are starting to drift away. This is a very different situation from when Jim was the untouchable, larger-than-life character in the hip-hop culture. Now, he is simply another of the social media criticism has been fierce, with everyone from hip-hop fans to celebrities weighing in. Some have defended Jim, stating that everyone has a story to tell about how easily things can go wrong. Camron supporters are especially outspoken in criticizing Jim for his actions, which, while regrettable, were the consequence of years of pent-up rage. As one person tweeted, Jim Jones just showed his true colors. They saw it as a betrayal of their friendship. True friends do not attack one another like that. Legal experts say that Camron is carefully considering his choices and determining whether to pursue a long-term strategy. In the meanwhile, he has been keeping quiet in public, but is acting behind the scenes. Lawsuit or just to let things settle down. Some people think Camron might choose to take the high road and let the legal system deal with it, while others think he's preparing a more aggressive strategy regardless of the outcome. One thing is certain though, he won't let Jim off the hook easily. On the financial front, things are becoming more difficult for both Jim and Camron, and Jim's record label is allegedly worried about the harm to his reputation. Jim's business dealings are now being called into question, so even though they haven't released any official statements, sources claim they are talking about how to disassociate themselves from the problem. Will he lose endorsement deals and chances to work with other artists? It's all up in the air, and the longer time goes by, the more it appears like Jim's empire may fall apart for Camron. But the circumstances are a little different. The whole experience has restored his fame while also forcing him to face some difficult realities. He has been receiving a lot of media coverage, both complimentary and negative, with some praising him for avoiding a public battle and others wondering whether he's just waiting for the ideal opportunity to retaliate. Regardless, it's evident that Camron is adept at using the media to his advantage, and he's waiting to decide what to do next. But when the dust settles, it's crucial to keep in mind that this is a reflection of something far bigger than a personal dispute between two artists. Hip-hop culture that exalts violence and aggression for years, the rap game has been based on the idea of being honest and having the ability to throw down when necessary. But what happens when that mindset goes too far? Industry insiders are starting to pose these questions in the wake of Jim's arrest. What happens when a fight is captured on camera and the repercussions are worse than anyone anticipated? Jim's acts may serve as a wake-up call for the hip-hop culture, according to some questions. It's not just about lyrics or swagger anymore. It's about accountability. If Jim goes downhill like this, will this incident spark a larger discussion about how hip-hop culture handles disputes, or will it just be another tale of a rapper gone rogue? At this point, Jim's actions are still having an impact. The impact on Jim's career will become more apparent in the upcoming months, and public opinion will continue to change as a result of the ongoing legal challenges. But one thing is for sure, this is a moment that no one in the hip will be able to predict. What will happen to Camron while Jim is forgotten by the hip-hop world? The fact is that the effects of this conflict will not only be felt by Jim and Camron, but also by the entire rap industry as a whole because of the feud that has developed between them. It's a narrative that keeps developing and will have a long-lasting impact on the hip-hop community for years to come. It's part of a broader discussion about violence in hip-hop and the human effects of a culture based on aggression and ego. It's unknown if Jim will be able to recover in the future. Some supporters are hopeful that he will grow as a person and learn from this experience, while others think that his decline into disrepute is irreparable. Regardless, Jim Jones has demonstrated that even the most untouchable hip-hop icons can be brought down by their own acts. Will he rise again, or is this the end of his empire? One thing is for sure, though, this story is far from over. We'll be keeping a careful eye on the story as it develops, and we'll make sure to keep you informed at every turn. But for now, let's leave you with this. What do you think will happen next? Will Jim Jones return from this? Camron wins, and we want to know what you think in the comments section below. What do you think will happen next? That's an exciting narrative that keeps going on with no end in sight. We would want to hear your ideas, so please leave them in the comments section below. Will Jim Jones recover next, or is this the last straw for him? Will Camron use this opportunity, or will he simply move on? Discussion going. If you like this in-depth look into the newest hip-hop drama, then like and subscribe for more stunning tales, intense disputes, and behind-the-scenes glimpses. Won't find anywhere, so remember to click the notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. We promise you won't want to miss what comes next, so share this video with your friends so they can join in. Who doesn't enjoy a good controversy? So keep an eye on the action as well. This narrative isn't finished yet and will be, providing you with the most recent updates until the following time.